New Tokyo 2130 is an upcoming Cyberpunk gamebook, or should I say, huge Cyberpunk gamebook written by Spanish authors David Velasco and Rick Sol. It was released in Spanish in October 2025, and the English release will be made available on February 3rd, 2026. Currently, the translation is completed and the book is just going through its editing stages. It was inspired by works such as the video game Cyberpunk 2077 and the novels Blade Runner and Neuromancer. Since I currently don't have the book, because it has not been available in English yet, see this as a pre-release overview of the entire book to see if you're going to enjoy it. And all of the information I'm going to talk about is information I gathered from Spanish interviews, reviews, and just like the official website. So don't see this as a definitive view of the book, because I'm going to leave a lot of things out. But once the book gets released, I'll do a complete overview of the entire game book. Before I start, a very important question. What do you need to play New Tokyo 2130? There will be 6 books released, the 6th book being a lore book, meaning if you want to know more about the world of New Tokyo, you can get the lore book, which is the world setting, if I'm not mistaken. You can like immerse yourself in this world before you start playing the game. The other 5 books, volume 1 to 5, those are the ones that you're going to need to play the game. All of them, because you're going to use all of the books at the same time. I'll explain that a little bit later. You're also going to need the adventure sheets, which are 4 in total. A pencil, an eraser as usual, and a couple different sets of dice. So currently I don't really know how many dice you're going to need, but just be prepared for something like a couple 6-sided dice, a D10 and a D100. At the very least, I'm pretty sure you're going to need these. Probably a D20, a D8, and a D4. But at least these ones you're going to need. If you will have trouble finding these type of dice, you can always use digital dice. About the books, imagine New Tokyo as a single huge game book, and the book was divided into 5 smaller books. This is not an open world game. Each book will serve its purpose. For example, and this is just an example because I don't know 100% for sure. Imagine as if volume 1 represents like all of the missions of the game. Volume 2 represents everything about your apartment. Volume 3 represents all of the fights, etc, etc. Imagine as if volume 1 was sections or entries, number 1 to 400, and then volume 2 would be entries 401 to 1000, and so on. So imagine this as a single game book that was divided into 5 smaller books, just to be, easier to play. Now, regarding your main character, who you are, what you're gonna do. So, you are a bounty hunter, an exorcist samurai. You're a mercenary. You'll be able to complete missions, develop your character, and live your life in this cyberpunk world. Your main objective or your main goal, always in every playthrough you do, always being gather 1 million imperial yen, which is the currency of New Tokyo, and gather 10 immigration stamps. With both of these, you'll be able to buy a one-way ticket to Mars, and you're going to be able to leave Earth, because Earth is in its dying stage. You're going to be able to leave Earth and live your new life in Mars. So that is always your main objective, your main goal. You have a time limit. You can only achieve that goal within 50 missions. So if you complete mission 51, your game is automatically over. Okay, you lost the game. There is no permanent death. If you fail a mission, this is a fail force system. So if you fail a mission, you continue playing the game, but the game will know that that mission was failed. So in a way, you kind of lost time if you fail a mission. Okay? It's one less mission that will help you accomplish your main objective. You're also going to have a secondary objective, and this one is different for each playthrough. At the start of the playthrough, you're going to choose 1 out of 3 secondary objectives. And this is, imagine this as a side story that will go along your main campaign, your main story. So at the very least, you can replay the book 3 times. Even without the secondary objective, the book is highly replayable. Keep that in mind. A single campaign will take you 30 to 50 hours to complete. But since the game is also highly replayable, you can multiply that a couple times. To achieve your goal, you're going to be able to complete 100 different missions. Missions 1 through 70 are non-replayable in a playthrough. So of course, if you're going to restart the game and play in a different playthrough, everything resets. But on one playthrough, you can only play mission 1 to 70 one time. Because these missions, you can see them as smaller game books, like smaller stories. Each mission will feel like it will have different paths, different choices to do. And the missions 71 to 100, these are replayable within a playthrough. And these missions will mostly be encounters with monsters from the Abyssal Fissure, which is a place that kind of open that weird creatures are coming out of it. And it's up to you, the Exorcist Samurai, to defeat them and protect New Tokyo. Now, after you finish a mission, you're going to your apartment. And in your apartment, it's where it happens most of the story and progression of the game. The game loop will be something like mission, apartment, and then apartment, mission, and then mission, apartment, and apartment, mission. And everything in the game happens in between these. In your apartment, you're going to be able to, well, you'll probably need to also pay your expenses, like to rent the apartment and all that. You're going to have random events. You're going to be able to pick up new missions and work. So these missions are work for your character. However, sometimes there is no offers, there is no work to do. Simply no one needs your services. During those times, you'll be able to do community service, which is like small jobs around your apartment, small jobs for your neighbors, small jobs for your community. In your apartment, you're also going to be able to watch your favorite TV show, which is Futokon Fight. Here, you're going to be able to bet your money in fights, I assume, in a game of chance to increase your money. You're also going to be able to interact with some of your partners, meaning your Tekku partner. Tekku-Kaiho is a technology that mixes human technology with alien technology, and your Tekku partner will help you with that. You're also going to have a relationship with your medic. I don't know what does that entail, but I do know that, for example, you can go to a concert with your medic and enjoy some time together. You're also going to have an AI named Sora, and you can also do some interactions with it. About weapons, you're going to be able to equip ninja stars or shuriken and katana at the start of the game. Those are your main weapons. Eventually, as the game progresses, you might be able to find or get some permits to use more powerful weapons like firearms. And for protections, you're going to have gear for your head, arms, torso, and legs. So these are the 2 other pages of the adventure sheets. This area is for your Tekku-Kaiho technology. So it's probably something that will be relevant to your Tekku partner. Then this part here shows off all of the areas and locations of the New Tokyo City. So you're going to have North Zone, Central Zone, Southwest Zone, and Southeast Zone with a bunch of small locations within each of those zones. From my understanding, this is where the enemies will spawn from the missions 71 to 100, the repeatable missions. I think this area will impact more of those missions, and this is where the enemies spawn. So depending where they spawn, it will affect them in a different way. And also, the more you defeat the same enemy, the better you'll become at defeating that same enemy. Something also to keep in mind. Another thing you're going to be able to do in a Cyberpunk world is do implants to your character. You're going to be able to choose from 60 different implants, and each of your body parts can take one of them. So, one for your head, one for your arms, one for your torso, and so on. You can implant more than one in one body part. However, there might be some serious side effects to your character. So maybe the payoff won't be as good as if it was only one. You can at least risk doing it. There is also a hacking minigame that you can use a Rubik's Cube or a normal set of poker cards or playing cards or some dice. I personally saw the tutorial for the playing cards. It looks like a very enjoyable minigame, at least, to break up the pace of the game. Now, you must be wondering about the art in this game. There are over 100 pieces of different art, where 60 of them were specifically made for the game. The other ones were store-bought. However, none of it is AI. Okay? The book contains no AI material. And that's mostly it for this pre-release overview. Next year, once the book comes out, I'm gonna do a full overview of this game. But it might take a little bit to come out because the book is really long, and I really want to do a serious overview about everything the book has to offer. So it might take a while, probably a month or so. And meanwhile, if you want to check out more books from David Velasco and Rick Saul, they released previously Expeditionary Company, which is also a huge game book. It uses 3 books, the 4th book being a supplement that is optional to use. And when you compare New Tokyo to Expeditionary Company, it feels like New Tokyo is easier to get into it. You only control one character in New Tokyo, and it's more of a straightforward game book format. While Expeditionary Company, it feels like you're kind of managing a business, and it might be a little bit more overwhelming at first than New Tokyo. Also, New Tokyo has different sets of difficulty, so if the game feels a little bit difficult for you, you can reduce the difficulty to easy, medium, or increase to hard. So you can balance kind of like to your playstyle. And if you want something lighter, David Velasco has published in English also Heroes of Uroan, which it's a normal standard game book if you want to try and read one of his works. And that's it for this small overview. I hope you have enjoyed, and we'll see each other when the final book gets released.